I'm feeling great. Glad to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course, of course.
Now, my first question for you is, how would you define sex appeal?
I would say the best definition of sex appeal is literally being as natural as possible. Just being authentically yourself, like not even trying to push yourself into this lane that you're not, necessarily fit in. Yeah, just being open to being yourself and just, that's a great question, honestly. There's many aspects of sex
Really, I
appeal.
was thinking
Yeah.
that when I read it, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, because honestly, it could be like what I'm wearing. It could be like what I'm listening to. It's all about me, honestly. At the end of the day, it's like what I'm interested in.
I feel like that's so important, like within like just sex, sex appeal in general, and just
Yeah.
like being very in tune with yourself.
Yeah, definitely having your own identity, like not trying to be like someone else. Yeah.
Did you always like feel this way? Always like sense your
Um,
identity, or
Definitely growing up, I did have a sense of like uniqueness. I knew I wasn't like similar to other girls in my class, but as far as tapping in more to my sex appeal, I feel like I kind of grasped that in college, I would say, maybe when I got a little older, because your body's changing, your mind's changing. It's not the same as what it was when you were in middle school, high school.
start clicking.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think I picked up more on gaining a sense of what sex appeal is to me by just seeing what fitted best for me as I was growing up. And of course, I always had like people to look at to see that as well, like celebrities, people in my family, whatever the case may be. But once I tapped in that to like as far as for myself, it was a total different story, total different story. Of course, it's like I'm taking pieces, but I'm not necessarily being that exactly. I'm creating my own wave, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So I know you said whatever you're like feeling or what I think you said wearing, right?
Yeah.
Makes you like have sex appeal. What makes you like feel sexy? Like does certain clothing make you feel sexy?
Yeah, of course. Like this outfit, like this makes me feel sexy. Um, Being considerate of others, others being considerate of me is a turn on for sure. I don't know, just I would say again, just embracing myself as far as who I am and what I have to offer. That's like, yeah, definitely when it taps in for sure as far as sexuality goes. Um, Music, I would say discovering new things, experiencing new things.
Would you say are you referring like just life or
Yeah, like life, like both, honestly. Life itself in general, like whether I pick up a new hobby or pick up a new thing that I was always wanting to do but never had a chance to. And then as far as sexual goes, I definitely would say learning my capabilities as far as what I can do, whether it's for me or for someone else that I am intimate with. Yeah,
that's so important?
very. Because everybody don't like the same things. So it's like, you're learning something, but at the same time, most times you're going to be possibly, involved with someone that gets it. You don't have to necessarily explain. But, other times there are some things that you would have to pick up on, like the hard nose and, things that you would be like, oh, okay, do you like this? Or what exactly do you like? And a lot of times people don't ask that. They just get straight to it. And again, that's okay. Again, if they get it, they get it. You don't have to explain. You don't have to say anything about it. But most times it's like some things need to be said. Like,
Yes, that ties back to what you're saying, like knowing yourself. Like,
yeah.
knowing yourself will literally expand your whole life.
Yes,
Into
exactly.
Your sex life, into
Exactly.
Your money life.
Exactly. Because it's like, you would think, oh, I like to be choked because it's like a thing, it's a trend. But then when you actually get into it, it's like, I like it, but I don't know, maybe it's the way you're doing it or you're not doing it, whatever the case may be. It's like you gotta just teach. You gotta be willing to teach and to learn. So, yeah, I definitely would say that's very important when it comes to discovering what's sexy for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone that's trying to learn, their actual sex appeal?
I would definitely say practice at home.
Like on yourself?
Yeah, like I would say it's kind of like similar, like let's say modeling, for example. If you're not experienced in modeling, if you have no idea as far as what to do, how to look, how to go about it when it comes to having a shoot, practice in the mirror. Like practice your poses, practice your facial expressions, walk down the hall, walk outside, walk in heels even. So it's practice is best, honestly. And again, speaking up when it comes time to being intimate with someone, that matters as well.
I fully agree. Whew, that was good. We got more.
Perfect.
Sorry, y'all.
Throw them at me.
I'm just reading. Look, I feel like you'll love this one.
Okay.
Is sex appeal exclusively feminine? Do you feel like sex appeal is exclusively feminine?
No. If anything, I would want it to be a balance, like tapping into both the feminine traits you have and the masculine traits you have. Because I feel like, I don't know, that's a great question. I feel like with both of them being, in the room, it's a lot can change, a lot can be introduced, honestly. There's several aspects as far as centered around masculinity that may not necessarily be considered feminine. For example, like, I guess you could say like strength in a way, physical strength, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then it's like, as far as feminine goes, like the emotional side, as far as like being held or being cared for afterwards, or
That's true. And then like I feel like the masculine aspect of sex is like being picked up, being
yeah,
rough,
or being like dominant,
yes,
basically, yeah, for sure.
But then does that tie back to submission being feminine?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say being submissive is completely you being feminine. I would just say that as far as having the willpower to let go. You know what I'm saying? You know how everyone's always saying, I want to live the softer life or softer side, and of course they link that to femininity. It's kind of similar to that in a way. It's like, I don't know.
It's confusing, bro.
It is, but it's not. It's kind of like as far as the masculine aspect, you would expect them to be like the ones, of course, the book, going by the book as far as men being the provider, the caretaker and all that, and also with the women being involved, it's like the emotional side. It's like as far as tapping into that, but it's like at the same time, I don't know. That's a great question. Right. But then again, you know what you want as far as whether or not you're dealing with a man or a woman, and there's differences as far as deciding to do so. So you could get a possibility like a more masculine woman or a more feminine man, but again, I'm all for having both. I want both of them to be present. I want both your feminine. I want you to be able to caress me and to hold me, and then also I want you to be able to pick me up and to like, flip me around and all that as well. I want it to be a balance. I don't want it to be just one side and not the other.
Well, again, that low-key answers the last question.
Okay.
To be in touch with your masculinity, to have sex appeal.
Yes, for sure.
You do.
For sure.
You definitely do.
50-50.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then sometimes I'll be like 95-5. Or 90-10. It all depends on what I'm in the mood for, honestly. Yeah. Because I can switch it up too, so yeah, it works. It's definitely all about the person.
Both of you, yeah. Connection.
Indeed.
So what do you think the biggest thing for you was to hone in on being confident in, yourself, whether that be in a sexual way or a non-sexual way? Where do you think, that stemmed from for you?
Oh, honestly, that's easy. Freedom. Having the ability to know that it's like the window is open. Like there's nothing, everything that you were taught, like as far as how you had to be or how things should be, is literally like not that at all. Not that at all.
Limitless when it comes to sex.
And that's how it should be, because sex is on a spectrum. It's not just one thing. It's not just one gender, one, you know what I'm saying? It's literally several things. again, going back to the whole bit of like, you would think you like to be choked just because of the trend, and the whole time it's like, yeah, but I don't, it could be a different way, but then it's also could be like, maybe like to be tied up. It's like levels, for sure. Like, you would think choking, yes, and then you'd be like, okay, let's get something else cracking. Like, let's get ropes involved, or let's get chains involved. You just never know. But it matters as far as like learning that for yourself, not just doing it just because someone likes it or whoever you likes it. You know, that's lame. Because you'll have more of like a sense of like understanding, like if you discover it yourself, to be like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. It's not more so like, oh, this is what he didn't like or she didn't like, or this is what she liked or he liked, so I did it. It's like literally, there's no freedom. Going back to freedom, there's no freedom there. It's literally you being constructed to fit the mold of what someone else wants you to be.
You got any more questions?
Lovely.
But I'm about to start asking questions. I was playing. I'm so used to asking the questions. Yeah. Literally, I'm about to say, I got questions. No, I'm great.
Let's talk a little bit about Coochie Chronicles.
Okay, awesome.
You are, I don't know what I would describe you as.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something right now.
I always
that's
get
not
that.
A thing. You are going to make it a thing.
Yes, for sure. That's the goal.
Like a sex influencer or like you're a sexual educator.
Yes, for sure. I was thinking sex therapist, then I was like, I don't know how much I would want to be involved in someone else's bedroom, which is cool, but at the same time, it's like I'm also having to like insinuate what would be best, but you never know. If you're not there physically per se, you just never know. Yeah, but honestly, Coochie Chronicles has become a life of its own, on its own, and it's crazy because people are loving it, like legitimately coming up to me and saying, hey, and they don't even follow the page. They don't even like any of the posts. They're literally just like, hey, I see what you be out here doing. You talk about sex and stuff. I love it. Keep doing that shit. Keep doing it. And I love how you are as an individual. And it's crazy. It's like you would never know who's watching for real. Like, never know.
But you got, sex is a universal thing. It's something
Honestly,
everyone needs to know about.
Honestly,
we were made
from sex, and it's crazy because it's still considered to be a taboo topic. It's like, even when you're trying to provide some education on it, it's literally like, oh no, we're not gonna talk about that. We can't talk about that. Can't talk about STDs. Can't talk about pregnancy. We can't. And it's like literally like, how do y'all think we got here? Like, granted, every encounter based on sex may have not been great or on the best of terms, but yet it took two people to come together to create you. Unless you're an IVF baby, then you know, hey, kind of still similar in a way, but yeah, it took two people to come together to create you. So it's like, with us not being able to talk about it, it's crazy. It's like, I can show a titty on Instagram, but I can't spell out the word sex or penis.
It's crazy. What troubles have you been facing, like trying to be a sexual Shit, you are a sexual educator.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I have too much trouble doing what I've been doing with Coochie Chronicles, but I would just say the internet being like this ultimate censored device when the whole time it's not really censored all the way. Like, again, you can see a dead body on Instagram, on social media, but like, God forbid you say anything about penis in your comments, or yeah, or dick. Like anything. You literally have to put like an asterisk in words, or like spell out everything with asterisks, or spell sex like sex. It's really crazy. When I first discovered that being a thing on TikTok, I was like, okay. But yet, yeah.
I think it's that way because
well, I mean, the thing about porn, like, you can still access that no matter how much you censor things about sex. You can still go to, like, look up a site and access it. So it's like any different than Instagram, Facebook, I don't know.
you could look up porn every
Yeah, you literally. You just gotta put in the right word, so you'll be surprised at what you find.
But I hate that's the way people are getting their education.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like that?
Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like with this generation now, it's Not typically that way, because again, with the internet and our access to it, it's like a whole thing as far as not just seeing and understanding what sex is from porn. Like, you can actually have people come in that are hopefully professionally suited to talk about it and what comes with it, and then they're able to see it from that. But then again, it's still someone else's opinion. It's still someone else's like judgment on the topic. I would say, if anything, talking to people that you are closer to, family-wise, friends-wise, maybe some that are experienced, maybe some that aren't in the topic of sex or sex in general. Internet, you just, how AI moving, you just can't really trust you can't trust too much. And granted, I'm doing what I'm doing on chronically, but that's just like a level 1, I would say. Again, I'm still in the works of being greater in the topic, you know, wanting to be able to go up to like politicians and people of, you know, higher stature and be able to talk about it, you know. So
I love the way you're doing it right now is like mixing comedy and education.
yeah. Yeah, honestly, that's how you'll get most people's attention. Yeah, because everybody's not just always wanting to just sit and be like, okay, open a book, now we're learning. No, they want to be able to have some jump at you and, like, you know, be in your face, but not all the way. Yeah, exactly. So, and of course, that's just me as an individual. I'm not too like boring on the topic. I like to have fun. Like to be exaggerated a little bit. So, you know, it works. Exactly, Mystique. It works.
How does it feel knowing that people like don't mind having that conversation about sex, and like you're bringing it to them in like a very easy to digest way, but you're still getting like real responses?
Honestly, like with me already thinking about how connected people are on this planet as far as with the topic of sex, like having that conversation with someone is even more of like a relief off my shoulders, because it's like, yeah, I knew this all along, like literally. And of course, I'm all for like, you don't hear it in most of my videos, but I'm all for like consent. Like I literally tell everybody, like, you can tell me no. And when they don't, they be like, yeah, let's talk about it. And I give them the questions, and they're just like, oh my gosh, these questions, they're great. Like, yeah, we should, definitely keep asking questions like this. It's like we're linked in a way. Like, you know how you would be black and you'd be like, yeah, I feel like we all were raised the same way, like in some sort of way, because we black people, families kind of linked the same. It's kind of like that in a way. But it's very interesting hearing their point of view. That's what matters too, because again, as much as we are connected, we are definitely all different in many, many forms. So it's like hearing their viewpoint is kind of like, this is great. This is great to hear. Really great.
So I just wanted to, it's really destigmatizing, like, you know, just from a consumer standpoint.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like, for example, I did a burlesque show recently, and of course I wasn't performing. I was merely just helping the performers that were a part of the show. And I just noticed within the crowd, there were a lot of like, it was black people there, you know, some white people, men, women, but there were more white people than black people. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know what that's about exactly. I feel like I will dive more into that later, but I just feel like we are still stuck in this bubble as far as what sex is and what it should be. And burlesque is like the tip of the iceberg as far as what it is exactly, what it could be. Like, my take from burlesque is literally, as I explained, gaining a sense of sexuality, being as like set up as freedom. And that's literally what it is. And as far as me not seeing a lot of us in the crowd, it's kind of like, y'all missing out. Y'all missing out on the point of what freedom looks like and what it could be for y'all. And I'm not saying everybody should do burlesque, because, you know, everybody may not be a stage kid, or everybody may not be a performer or a dancer, but still being able to see that and being like, okay, like, sex is not just man and woman. Sex is not just performing in the bedroom. Sex could be like you literally taking off a piece of clothing slowly, or you serving someone within a public space, or, you know, and it's all about how you bring it to the table, how you bring yourself as far as doing so. I just feel like everybody should see that. It should it should be seen for sure.